The information and discussions shared on The Love Show are from personal accounts and experiences. Listener discretion is advised. This episode contains explicit language and frank discussions of adult themes or sexual content that may not be suitable for all audiences. Any communications, considerations, or recommendations are not a substitute for medical, psychological, or licensed professional help in wellness or recovery. Please seek a qualified practitioner regarding specific needs or concerns. We thank you and hope you enjoy the show.
Welcome to The Love Show, an exploration of love, romance, relationships, and sacred sexuality. This is your invitation to dive deeper into your innermost self and strengthen the bonds of love and intimacy. Jennifer Rose is an international psychic medium, transformational guide, channel, writer, and healer. With the help of fellow trailblazers, Jennifer's mission is to combine timeless wisdom and modern spiritual awareness to transform and evolve humanity, all while encompassing healthy transformative love, epic beauty, and divine connection. Now here is your host, Jennifer Rose.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to The Love Show. I'm Jennifer Rose, and we are on the Sacred Spiral Network. I hope you all are doing well and have had a fabulous weekend. We're rounding off a Monday after two great shows with Karen Modaffilio and Brian Lar earlier today. I'm very excited to be with all of our beautiful friends here this evening. Very excited to be welcoming in just a few minutes my lovely colleague and friend, Phyllis King. She has a wonderful insight to be sharing with all of us here today, and super excited for this coming up hour too. Just one quick announcement for you. After several days of this whole week of beautiful shows on the Sacred Spiral Network, I will be back this Friday on my sister show, Embracing Infinity, at 12 p.m. Pacific time and 8 p.m. in the UK with my lovely guest, Ashley Page, a lovely psychic medium, also colleague and friend of mine as well. So please do join us for that. I'm very excited for this coming show as well too. And next week on The Love Show as well, I have Drew and Maria Brophy coming back again. They've been with me on Embracing Infinity, talking about their near-death experience and their artwork. We've had lovely time together, and we will be back on The Love Show next Monday too. So very excited for that show coming up as well too. Let's say hello to our guests that are starting to join us. Monique, good to see you. Welcome. It's really nice to have you here, Monique. Lovely, lovely to see you. Good evening. Hello, Miss Evelyn. Nice to see you too. Beautiful. Welcome. I'm so happy you're here. You've been watching every show today. I'm impressed, Evelyn. So thank you for staying with me this evening as well. Let's see. Howie, hello. Good tip-top hat to you. That's my friend Ed Odell. So good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And the lovely Jennifer McCormick from the UK. Welcome. So happy to see you too as well too. Had fun chatting with you over in the chat over on Brian's show as well too. So great to see you here. So welcome. Labyrinth Criterion is well here as well. Good to see you. Hello. Thank you all for joining us. All right, my dear friends. So as we're all starting to come on in, let me get my eyeglasses on here so I can read better. And have you read all the relationship books, done the therapy, and worked on your past, yet you still find yourself stuck in a loop of dissatisfying relationships? The answer isn't hidden in your history, it's living in your future. In tonight's powerful episode of The Love Show, I'm sitting with internationally acclaimed Intuitive Life Strategist and author Phyllis King to break you out of your relationship loops for good. Phyllis shares a groundbreaking truth. Your dating patterns aren't driven by hidden archetypes you don't even know you are playing. They are driven by hidden archetypes you don't even know you're playing. Forgive me. We are breaking down the 6 hidden love identities that sabotage deep connection, trap you in repetitive loops, and block authentic love. This isn't just a regular relationship advice segment. It's a practical roadmap to completely rewrite and reinvent your romantic future. If you're ready to stop managing a painful pattern and start practicing real relational freedom, this conversation is your turning point. Today, we're going beyond therapy, why understanding your past isn't enough to change your romantic future. We're rewriting the love, practical steps to actively reinvent your relationship dynamics starting today. And practice over program, why a lasting love connection requires a daily practice rather than a quick temporary fix. Phyllis King is an intuitive life strategist, author, and speaker known as the Common Sense Psychic. She has worked with tens of thousands of people in 35 countries, specializing in life transitions, attraction patterns, and helping individuals get clarity on the relationships in their lives. Featured on ABC, CBS, and NBC TV, and radio programs across the United States and Europe. Her insights have been published in over 200 print and online publications. Phyllis is the author of 6 books, including The Energy of Abundance and Bouncing Back, which she co-authored with Dr. Wayne Dyer. Through her courses, coaching, and Soulful Success magazine, she helps clients navigate change with confidence and design beautifully aligned lives. You can find Phyllis at phyllisking.com, Instagram and YouTube and TikTok at Intuitive Life Strategist, and on Facebook at Phyllis King. So without further ado, let's welcome the lovely Phyllis King to the Love Show. And hello to all of our friends who have showed up. Hello, Phyllis. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, Jennifer. It's lovely to be with you always.
We've come full circle, haven't we?
We have. Oh my goodness. For your audience, I interviewed you years ago, and it was such a beautiful experience. And
I think it might have been one of my first. I'm not sure, but pretty close. So thank you for trusting me.
Blossoming in the most beautiful ways.
Yeah. I'm so happy that you're here, and you have so much to share with us. And how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great because I'm here with you, but there's so much to talk about. And just for your viewers and listeners, I want to answer their questions too. So whatever's coming up, whatever's on their heart, because in addition to this identity work, which we're going to talk about, I'm sure tonight, I've done a lot of other work in the healing realm. And depending on where someone is at, and we'll find out, people will listen to the content and that'll determine if they fit in the identity category or if they fit in the healing category or where they're at in that relationship.
I love that so much. Thank you for offering that too. So yes, everybody, this is an opportunity to get yourself in those little comments. And if you have any questions, please put them in for us. So what a great opportunity. Thank you, Miss Phyllis. Okay, where would you like to start? You want to start with the love identities, or do you have another avenue you'd like to go?
No, well, let's dive into it because it's important, and it's something that people don't ever think about. We think about going to therapy. I'm hurting, I'm sad, my relationships with my parents were terrible, and I keep attracting these relationships that keep re-traumatizing myself, and we keep going into the past. We keep saying the answer is there. And sometimes there are some answers there. We have to do enough clearing, enough balancing that we can move forward and it's not driving us. But there still is a lot of unfamiliar, unconscious playing out that's in the identity. So when I talk about people who need to adjust identity, it's really related to those people who have been through therapy, who've been reading all the self-help books and are finding that it's still not working. So then it's probably identity at this point. And the best way I can simplify when I talk about identity is you think about people who lose weight, really overweight, and they become thin, but they still see themselves as not as overweight. And identities work a little bit like that we created them as a mechanism for coping with some of the traumas and the experiences we had. And they become how we relate to ourselves. But long after the healing piece is done, the grieving and all of that, and the rewriting those stories, we're still used to being that person. And that's who we're showing up with in our relationships. And that's what's getting us into trouble. And so that's why I say your answer really isn't in the past anymore. If you fall under this category, it's in your future.
Yeah, it's who you are now. And do you want to let that who or one of those who's dictate the rest of your story? I
Right.
love that too.
And the identity work is actually really fun. Once you identify and see where you're coming from and what's been driving the show, then you just begin to practice the identity that you actually are. You're not changing who you are. You're not saying, oh, I'm now going to become this new person. I get to, no,
Mhm.
you're actually becoming who you always were and lost track of in the midst of all this trauma and grieving and all of that. But we didn't make a relationship to that person we actually are. We made a relationship to the wounded person, to the person that was grieving and got abused and got, mistreated in all the ways. But once you identify, and I'm sure we'll talk about that today, I call it the 6 hidden identities. Once you determine which one you are, or which combination of those, then you get to practice. And there's very specific things you can do to kind of build that muscle in, because you haven't been you in a while. You're used to this other entity showing up, and then it becomes really fun. And that's why identity work can be fun. But when you do it in a class, and I am offering a class in a month or two here, then you get the support mechanism and the practice and the group dynamic, which really accelerates getting settled into who you are. And they're going to completely change how you relate in relationships.
Oh, I love this so much. All right, I got like a bunch of questions all rolling around in my head.
Okay.
So these identities would be archetypal as well, like pretty much everybody has them in a different combination, correct? And we develop these to help us, like you said, cope or protect the person that we're trying to discover. Correct?
Exactly. We cope or we protect or we find it as a means or a tool to get our needs met. We don't know another way. If you had to shrink in your environment growing up or whatnot to survive and to avoid, some catastrophe in your family of origin, if you will, then you learn that, oh, this is the means and the method to get people to like me, to get people to be nice to me. And it works. And when the slate of who you are gets written on at that time, it really becomes unconscious. And so we have to kind of unlearn what feels normal. So I always say, be very weary of what feels familiar, because familiar tends to be the enemy. And familiar is what we typically get attracted to when we meet someone. We don't think it's familiar. We just say, oh, I just connect with this person. Oh, I'm so attracted to this person, when it's actually we're recognizing something familiar in them. And then all of a sudden we get into a relationship and all the stuff starts coming up and we're like, oh, not again. Why is this so hard? But the unpacking of it is really quite a joyful and empowering process, because you realize there's a way out and it's not in the past. It's like in working with your future.
Brian says, amazing realization. Yes. I love this so much. And it seems as if it's the insecurity that drives these archetypal identities too. And I know it's a means of protection, but once we, like you said, learn to recognize them and I guess heal, integrate them.
Yeah, and when they're unconscious, because it's playing on autopilot, and that we don't even realize we're doing it. We think everything is fine. Let's talk about one of them if you want to do that.
Let's go for it.
Okay, so let's talk about, here's a really common one. And for the men in the audience, it can translate over as well, but this is given in feminine language. We talk about the waiting woman. The waiting woman is always, well, I'll be happy when someone chooses me. And some of the signs of the waiting woman are, I'm always waiting for texts. I'm waiting for the commitment. I'm waiting for the change. I'm postponing my own life, and I'm looking outside of myself for permission to live. But the waiting woman is just waiting to be chosen. And when you're waiting to be chosen, then that's what you're looking for in a partner. You're not looking for compatibility. You're not looking for safety. You're not looking for accountability. You're like, just choose me. Just choose me. And you don't necessarily notice that if you're not aware of that playing in the background. So then we have something that I call the overgiver. A lot of women fall into this category.
Yes.
Men do as well. Men do as well. And it says, I earn love by giving more. If I just do more, share more, and you're over functioning. This is why a lot of times it's high performing women. We're doing more. And at this point, then resentment starts to grow when the effort isn't reciprocated. And we hear when I'm talking with my clients in the coaching, a lot of scorekeeping going on. I did this for him, and I did that for him, and I did this, and I did that, and I did this, and I did that. You know you're in that overgiving pattern. But we get so uncomfortable with being in a flow of energy to just let it resolve naturally. We jump in and solve. An example would be, you think about someone who says, oh, honey, would you take the garbage out? And he didn't say, could you take it out now? And an hour later, the garbage isn't taken out. You're like, well, I'm taking it out then. And then you're angry for the rest of the night. And then for the next 3 months, you said, well, you never do anything I want. You wouldn't even take the garbage out. And I had to do it. And that's how overgiving can play out. And so we don't realize it. We think, well, I'm just taking care of it. I'm avoiding a fight or whatever. But it's really about being present and saying, what's motivating me here? I have an overgiver client, actually, who we really worked to get to the bottom of things with her, where when her partner is uncomfortable, it makes her so uncomfortable that she ends up like giving money, softening her own boundaries, putting herself in debt, doing things that aren't good for her because she can't tolerate the discomfort. And when we look at that really closely, it's like, I'm afraid I won't be loved if I don't do these things. And so, and on the face, we think, oh, I'm a kind, generous person. I'm helping. No, you're not. You're enabling. And so you have to kind of step back and really start to get into the motivations behind, you're calling it archetypes, but these hidden identities. And believe it or not, it's really quite simple to unpack if you just take a few moments to do so.
I love this. So it's in building the awareness of it, then we can actually start to change it a little bit, because then we can recognize when we're doing it. Oh, I'm doing the overgiver woman again. Okay, wait a minute. Maybe take a step back. Maybe
exactly. We take a step back and slow it down. You kind of like slow the tape down, slow motion. And most of us don't want to go slow. We want to go fast. But if you just stop long enough, and like I just asked the question, so why did you take out the garbage? Why did you pay that bill for that person? Was it for them or was it for you? And then if you sit with it and just keep going back into the foundation of the behavior, boom, there it is. And that's why, and in the class, of course, and then there's a self-guided course as well, there's various questions we go through to help you understand, how to deal with that. I even have a free assessment quiz for anybody who would like that, to help you get right to it. It's not hiding. I mean, it's hidden from you right now, but it's easy to find because you're doing it repetitively, because how you show up in one area of your life is how you're showing up in all of them, especially in relationships. It's just in our relationships, we're so invested and it means so much to us. That's what finally gets our attention.
Yes, exactly. I love this so much too. And I had a thought, because we keep gravitating towards what we know, that our nervous system recognizes what we know. And we have a hard time sometimes thinking about what we don't know might be another way, might be something good for us or someone good for us too. But because our nervous system doesn't know that, it wants to go towards the familiar, like you said, right? Too. And it's so to be able to step over the threshold into the unknown, try something different, or unravel these patterns so that you can create a path for something new. For
one of the things we do, whether it's one-on-one coaching or whether it's in the class, is that we think about someone that we think is really confident. Oh, that person, their life is really together, and they know how to speak, and they know how to behave, and they know how to ask for what they want. If I was acting like that, how would I behave? If I was behaving like a woman who valued herself, if I was behaving like a woman who wasn't overdoing, would I pay that bill for so and so? Would she do that? We start going. That's why I say we're trying to go into the future, not the past. How would that person behave? And we look at those characteristics and we actually write them down. And then we start to practice them in real time. And we create affirmations around them so that we have a dialogue that we can work with. And, I put affirmations in the program so people can go over them and over them and over them. So when they get in trouble after the class, because we're going to revert, then you have something to say to yourself. It's like, no, I deserve reciprocal love. I deserve that. And so I don't need to settle for this. I should not do this. This is against me. And then we suddenly have a dialogue to combat it with. It's pretty fun.
Yes, I love this so much. It's funny because I had a guest on my very first love show. Her name is Lori, and she said that one of the biggest things people complain about is taking out the trash. So it's so funny that you brought that up. So this is the big power play, and we don't realize the hidden agenda and the hidden insecurities driving this seemingly silly argument. But there is so much in there. So that's fascinating how you brought that up.
Yeah, and certainly when you're building up resentments and scorekeeping, you're in that category, that you didn't take the time to handle it in a different way. And I think so often we expect our partners to know what we want. We expect them to be like us. And we don't understand that we're different people, and we're men and we're women in hetero relationships. And it takes a long time to learn how to be together. And we're going to mess up. We're going to do things that disappoint one another. But I think we have a lot of expectations. And when we come at it from a place of, you're going to complete me, the Jerry Maguire movie, then we're really setting ourselves up for disappointment and thinking that I've chosen wrong and something must be wrong with me because I keep picking the wrong person. So there's some practical things that go into that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like the way culture is, the way media is, the way we've been raised, it's a playground all based on completing another too. And I love the fact that we can give to one another and heal one another, but there's this shadow of codependency that seems to run the show. And eventually we have to come realize we're responsible for our own happiness and do the work.
Yeah. And I think people get stuck in the responsibility piece. They think, well, it's not my fault. It's not my fault that I grew up in this family. It's not my fault that this happened to me. No, it's not. And this is not about blame. This is about having a relationship to your inner world and making sure your inner world is saying the things to you that it needs to say. And this is why I don't think most people can have, well, I don't want to generalize, but to have really productive relationships, we want to have a great relationship to ourselves. And we always need to win the inner dialogue. We always need to win that conversation. No matter what we've done, what we've said, we have to have that level of compassion and create a lot of space for ourselves to hear what's true. If we're in a state of self-criticism or not enough about who we are, then it makes it a little more difficult.
Yeah, I think I speak about this a lot, yes, and I think it may be new to a lot of people to learn to talk to themselves, to talk to their parts or their hidden identities, and develop that relationship. Take it inward too. It is a new experience for a lot of people. Yes, please.
It is. It's just another form of being present with yourself. I mean, of course, there's always layers and dimensions to that, and there's 100 or 1,000 different ways to become present, but it's all inward, and we tend to be going outward. Oh, I need a new partner. We're just going to swap out the partner, or I'm going to give up men. It's like we keep thinking it's an external problem. I've done some matchmaking over the course of my career as well, and what I find is people think it's the partner, if I just get in the right partner. And yes, we do need a level of compatibility and shared values and things of that nature. But it's really about how we're relating to the experience. And the more we're understanding it's how we respond to it, we empower ourselves. We feel great about ourselves, and we change our boundaries and how we select. And as long as we're pointing the finger out, then it's sort of the tail wagging the dog. But the interesting thing is about identity work, it's really about bringing forward that person who got injured, and then you went through all the therapy and all that. We're reconnecting to who you are, and the best magnetic way to attract a relationship is through authenticity. That's how you get the soulmate. You're like a beacon. They're looking for you, and if you are being your authentic self, you're easy to find. When the time is right. We can't control timing and everything, but we have influence over how we're going to show up in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Monique, how you communicate to your inner child lovingly is the key.
1,000%. 1,000%. So I'll go over a couple more identities, if people recognize these. The invisible woman, the person, it's safer not to fully express who I am. I see this all the time. They want the relationship so bad. I'm just going to eat this. I'm not going to talk about it. And it's not just in the romantic relationships. They do this in the workplace. They do this in their family relationships. They do this with their friends. I don't want to rock the boat. I'm going to keep it to myself, right? And so you hide your needs, you hide your desires, you avoid conflict at all costs. And so you're seen but not known. And you find this in long-term marriages and relationships where people feel lonely in their own house. You're not seeing me. We've shrunk. We're just now invisible. And a lot of times children have had to learn to become invisible as a coping mechanism. And so they learn, well, that works. I avoided a lot of uncomfortable things. But to unlearn that and see that we develop that identity and it's in our unconscious, that takes a minute. To come to terms with that and say I have a voice. It's great to speak up. It's great to be truthful and authentic and give people the information they need to be successful with me. I mean, it's such a great feeling rather than I'm going to suck it up and never say a word.
Yeah. Like you're right. It takes a minute because we've been doing it for years, decades even. So And so I think give ourselves some grace and compassion, even if we slip up and do it again. And then, oh, we caught it. Oh, I did that again, but at least I caught it.
So true. And then, some of these identities, there's going to be combinations of them. So the next one is the rescuer. I talked about someone I work with who paid for the bills and to her own detriment was doing things that was sabotaging her own life to take care of someone else. Well, the rescuer, my value comes from helping or fixing others. And so I'm attracted to people who need saving, ignore my own needs, and I feel responsible for others and their growth. Oh, I just need to help them along. That'll get better if I help them do this. And every once in a blue moon, we do need help, and we need that one person who can give us, extend their arm. But in relationships, it pretty much needs to be reciprocal. Or sometimes it's 80-20, but then it flips and then it's 80-20 the other direction. But the rescuer, they get their value. It's like you think about kids who become parentified and their parents are the children, right? This is sort of a classic example. And now I'm thought of so well. Look at all you do. And, oh, you're such a giving, caring person. And it's like, so we get a lot of credit for that, especially women. We do so much for everybody. Like, oh, you're amazing. And that's why so many super achiever women who are accomplished out in the world, umpteen degrees, mid six-figure incomes, beautiful house, beautiful cars, fine, everything is in line, but they're just over, and they're just taking care of everybody and everything. And what's fascinating,
don't quite know who they are.
Exactly. Or they're not letting part of them come forward that's not doing. And what's fascinating to me when you think about, and this is just, this is not my opinion, this is fact, but you can Google it, look it up, that one of the issues women have in the United States of America is thyroid disorders. And they think the number is in the 90s, that women suffer from thyroid disorders 90%. Men don't get them, nearly a little bit, 10, 20%. And when you think about who's taking care of everybody, who's giving up their life to raise the kids, to clean the house, sometimes to do all of that and work, who's organizing the social calendar, who's making the lunches for the kids, you know, who's going into the dry cleaner, who's cleaning the house. It's like, it's women. We're bearing all the burdens of society of taking care of. And so knowing that this can actually, I mean, who knows if that's the reason. I'm drawing a conclusion here, but that is a common denominator, that women are the ones that were the shock absorbers of culture.
Yeah, it's something to think about, that these behaviors can lead to health problems as well too, because it's like the body and the nervous system can only sustain so much.
Absolutely.
Too. And so this is why learning to self-parent, self-love, and self-care is vital, crucial, so that we can get on a better trajectory.
Yeah, and you know, this woman I keep referring to is overdoing for her partner, has some challenges with health, and she's highly sensitive to stress. And when she finally was able to make separation from this particular partner who was literally draining the life out of her, her health pattern improved because she wasn't dealing with the day-to-day stress. And this is how the hidden identities work. It feels normal to us. It feels familiar while it's taking a toll at the same time.
Well, statistically, they've said single women with no kids, or maybe their kids are grown and they no longer have to care for them, are the happiest.
Yeah.
Because, I'm sorry, it's just, that's out there. It's true. I think it surprises people, but it makes sense.
That's an amazing point, Jennifer, because relationships and how they're formed has changed dramatically in the last 80 years. You know, and it started in the 1950s when birth control became available. There was no birth control, but, you know, the rhythm method, I suppose, that was it.
Not very effective.
And then more, back then, it's like 25% of women were in the workplace, 75% stayed home. Now that's reversed, and even probably more. But birth control gave us we can have sex now and we don't have to have babies. That's a big deal. We don't have to worry about that, right? And then we get out in the workforce and we're earning our own money. But when in the 1950s, for instance, oh, you can pay the mortgage, you're hired, let's get married. Now it's like we want a soulmate, we want a best friend, we want you to bring out the best in us. And so that has changed, but the psychological evolution and development and understanding of people has not grown that much. And so that's sort of the conundrum we find ourselves in. It's like, how do I have a masculine, feminine dynamic when everything's changed? How does a masculine feel masculine? How does a feminine feel feminine when I'm running my own masculine energy in my life? I'm bringing home the bacon, so to speak. So it's a different culture and different time to try and create relationship. It's possible and it's doable. And I think we are hardwired to partner. We don't have to, but we're tribal by nature. We want to be with one another. And if we can have sex and go on vacations, yay, right?
I would say we're like a pack of puppies. We are meant to, like you said, partner and create families and stuff. That is a biological component that we have too. And hello to everybody who's joined us. Vivian, she's a psychiatrist over from Hawaii, and she says, truth, thyroid needs to be checked in men and women. Thank you for bringing this up. Yeah. Aloha, Miss Vivian. So, yeah, absolutely. And autoimmune issues, muscular, skeletal issues, anxiety and depression, all kinds of things, hormonal imbalances, endocrine system, all of this can be affected by the stress. So what you're speaking of is really important, not just for our overall happiness and better relationships, but also for our health and longevity too.
Well, I mean, we're focusing on relationships today primarily, but everything touches everything else.
It does.
We're not separate from ourselves. And I know that you've interviewed some near-death experienced people. I did recently as well, this amazing man, Jerome Braggs, who has a book called Feed Me Only Life. But of course, we all know about Anita Moorjani, Trying to Be Me. And it's like that relationship between what we think and how we feel and what it does to our body. It's real. It's real. And I think that when you age, the more you age, you start to recognize the limitations, or I don't want to use the word limitations, but what happens in your body, just everything becomes more sensitive at that point. If you're paying attention, I mean, you can still numb yourself out.
It's good to pay attention. Yes. Do when you have your class and you're talking about the identities, do you do like any like role playing of the identities to kind of?
Well, a little bit. Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, when I say role playing, we talk it out for sure. And we practice the affirmative statements. And just once you're having permission to be yourself and how good it feels to be you again, and not identifying with the wounded part of yourself, but that powerful part of yourself, and using the statements that we use, like, I deserve reciprocal love. It's like, oh yeah, that feels good. And I have that in my back pocket now. And so the next time someone wants to give me less than what I deserve, I'll have that ready. I'm like, well, wait a second. This isn't reciprocal love. And suddenly your boundaries change. So yeah, we do some practice like that. And I also have like a meditation a meditation bundle that goes with the class that people can take with them, because we do need the supports. You know, it's not just enough to think it in your mind. We need to practice. And that's why this isn't necessarily a healing program per se. It's really more of a practice to remember and get used to being that again. And, you know, and so the meditations support that. There's a workbook that goes with it. You can do at home. And of course, the group community, all of that to ensure that you can get over the hump. And you'd be surprised how quickly it changes, because it's not exactly healing work that can take days, weeks, months, years. You know, you think about it takes roughly 30 days to change a thought pattern, create the neural pathway. It's like, yes, we can really start to make progress in a month, 2 months, 3 months. We're different.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
We have completely different experiences. And that's what makes it so exciting and fun.
Yeah. It's almost like you have to get to the point where you're just tired of seeing things repeat over and over again. And then you're willing to be like, well, I guess I can't change, you know, anything else or anybody else. So I might as well see if maybe, you know, there's something in me that I could work on too, you know, not as a bad thing, not as a bling thing, like you said, but like, let's see what's going on there so that you actually can change to see something better.
Sick and tired is a good place to be if you want to change. Sick and tired, if you're right there. If you're sick and tired, then you might be open. Say, okay, well, what do I have to lose? Nothing. I'm so sick and tired of it. So I don't mind.
Sometimes you're sick and tired of being sick and tired.
And I think part of the life game is we have to keep, you know, self-development never really ends. We tend to think we have destination thinking, but life is, from my point of view and my experiences, it's a continuum. And we have eras in our life where things are going fantastic, and then the universe is going to play, you know, we have to play catch with the universe and see what's going to come at us, and we can't always know. You know, people pass away. It's like there's divorces, and then there's, you know, different catastrophes can happen in our lives and around us. And that's part of living. And I think a lot of us get stuck in this idea that, oh, it's a one and done idea. Okay, I now have the answer and life will forever be fantastic. Well, you may develop some skills with how you respond and react to life, which can keep you centered and peaceful, but you're still going to have to play catch with the universe, because that's life. And if you know that and don't have an expectation otherwise, it gets easier.
Yeah.
In that regard.
Perfect. So you've mentioned the word authenticity and authentic a few times, and then you talked about sort of the wounded self, which is that the needy driver in us, and then the powerful self. So would you say that your definition of being authentic is being aligned with your powerful self?
You could. I mean, it's not that you wouldn't say that. I think it's with who we are. I mean, who our true essence is.
Right.
Often, if we can remember, and some people don't remember based on their level of trauma, but if we can remember, who we like to be away from the people that traumatized us and the games we play and the silly way we thought about things, we kind of remember, who we are. And then we start being that, like the things we used to do or the things we would say or how we felt about ourselves or life. And that's the person we're bringing forward, not the person who got beat up and that's that story of our trauma. Because, these things are another lifetime and within our life. It's like, you've healed it. It's done. It's behind you. We don't need to go there anymore. We're going to go into the future and we're going to practice. And often people know what they lack. So I'm not confident. I don't think I'm good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm too fat. I don't make enough money. I live too far away, or, I'm too short, or I'm too old, or, we have all these limiting statements about, what we think we're entitled to or deserve. And that often will tell you the story about what identity you're aligned with. And we don't identify with those stories anymore. When we'll end that, we'll notice, well, I don't think I deserve. Well, wait a second, I absolutely deserve. Where's that from? And then we mimic the person. It's always nice to have an example, an avatar. Oh, I know so-and-so, and she is she knows how to command. What does she do? Oh, well, she just speaks her mind, or she doesn't have to be angry. She just advocates for herself. I advocate for myself, and I say what is true for me, and I can say no, and I don't have to feel guilty about it. And we start working with the language that gives us the boundaries, that gives us the practice to begin to relate to ourselves in that new way. It's fun.
That is fun. It's fun work.
It is fun. And when you think about healing work, it's often, where Kleenexes, I need to do the tapping. And not that there's anything wrong with tapping, and I think it's great, but it's fun to behave in your power like that. And so that was your original question, is being in your power. So I guess the short answer is yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. Did we cover all the identities?
Let's go over the last two quickly. The performer, and I sort of, this is a combination, but it's achievement-based self-worth. I'm going to get 2, 3, 4, 10 degrees, and I have a fear of not being enough, that I have to earn again, and I just have to be super duper. I have to be fantastic. I have the nicest clothes. I have the nicest house. I have the best hair. I have the best nails. My body is just perfect. I put in 80 hours a week at my job. I don't ever let anybody down. I go to work. I go to school. I do this and that on the weekend. I mean, I am busy all the time, really trying to prove the fact that we're valuable. And we think that if we prove that someone's going to, wow, you're great. You're just great at what you're doing. Yeah. And then we have the emotionally abandoned woman, where it's a little bit like the invisible woman, but some more nuance to it, where I leave myself to have the relationship, that you're so much more important than me. I mean, we don't really have the self-worth piece. It's not self-worth. Again, it's the identity that was created by the lack of self-worth, that we don't matter. Be quiet. We don't want to hear you. Go back to your room. Who asked you? We don't think we should even have a voice. And so we just shrink and then put everyone else on the pedestal and say, wow, you're so great. Mm-hmm. You're so great.
A lot of smallness, a lot of playing small.
Yeah, I had a client once who loved to support new thought leaders, and she supported some very famous new thought leaders. And she was such an advocate and enthusiastic. And she hooked her tail to my wagon for a minute, thinking I might be one of those. But also she was overdoer, overzealous in this, and could kind of annoy people a lot. But ultimately, after working together, she decided, oh, wait a second. I'm trying to get my gratification through other people's approval while I pump them up. I'm going back to school. I'm going to get my PhD, and I'm going to be the new thought leader that I promote. And so rather than getting a relationship, she became the star in her own life. And that's super exciting. Like suddenly, wow, I'm great. I'm cool. That's awesome. And so that's sort of the flip side of that abandoned, emotionally abandoned woman.
That's a big deal to become, because I think lots of women, especially after being caretakers for other people and being taught culturally to play small, to learn how to be, the star in their own life, the main character in their life. It takes some work, but I think that's what they're hungry for, that and they have that yearning inside of them. And I love that you've made it really like this lovely system that they can so quickly, easily go into their own selves and see what's happening in the background. As Carl Jung always said, if you don't make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you'll call it fate. Right. And so true. Monique had a question about telling the difference between two of the different identities, people pleasers versus lover of people.
Oh, well, a people pleaser, they're doing it not for themselves. They're doing it to get something out of it. It's feeding a hole inside of them. A lover of people is just a lover of people. I love people, right? People are interesting. People are fascinating, right? But a people pleaser needs that because they don't feel well enough. They don't feel strong enough, good enough if they're not. I have to just make you so happy. I was talking to a client today who is people pleasing at work big time, afraid to advocate for herself. And there's some people pleasing. That's what I'm saying. It goes on everywhere if you're doing that. And it's a sacrifice of ourself. It's an inability to have good boundaries and shortchanging yourself and letting people take advantage of you. I mean, it's kind of what happens. And then when you sort of wake up to these identities, you're like, wait a second, I didn't realize I was doing it.
Yeah.
So good question, Monique. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times you just get to the point where you just realize, and I think if we could just really understand as a group here that these coping mechanisms in the end do not work. They will always kind of result, like you said, in disappointment over and over and over again. So, and it's like a lot of times we realize the hard way, playing small didn't work.
Right. And if you think about it in terms of law of attraction or magnetizing, if you are coming from anything with a place of lack, not enough, empty, that I'm an imposter, or they're going to find me out, and I can't get anybody better than this, that this is all I have, so I better make it work, even though there's a lot you don't like. It's like that, that's scarcity all the way. And it's a denial and sort of an assault against yourself. And we don't think of it that way. We're rationalizing it inside of our head as making sense to us. But if you just untangle the dialogue a little bit, you'll think, well, wait a second, that makes no sense. That makes no sense to do that. Then you can begin to rewrite. And the best part about it is identities are learned, and they can be unlearned and relearned, and the identity you want to learn is being with your true self, not the coping mechanism identity that you adopted to rescue yourself from your life.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. Just to take that in for just a moment to see what's possible for your life so that you can really find true, authentic happiness, really know what you are. And it's hard to say, talk about that because we say, just be you, know who you are. What does that mean? What does that look like? You got to follow these steps and, sort of unravel and get to know everything that's going on within you so that you can start to go, oh, wait a minute. Not exactly me, not exactly me, not exactly me, oh, I'm in here somewhere. How about that?
We're all creatures of habit.
Mm-hmm.
We're all guilty of that. So,
Yeah.
and so that's why we don't recognize it. We're having lives, we're going through our day, coping to the best of our ability, and these habits, we don't recognize we're even in the habit. We don't even recognize it. But that's why sort of where we began the show today was this type of work is for people who've done the therapy, who've read the books, and are still finding themselves in the disappointing relationship. You need to practice something different. It's like if you haven't been to the gym in 5 years, 10 years. It's like, no, you need to start practicing and get your muscles strong. And then before you know it, you're used to your true self again, and it comes naturally. And you find you start attracting differently, and putting up boundaries is normal. It's not like, oh my God, are they still going to like me? I'm such a bad person for saying no. It's like some of those things we used to tell ourselves were just incredulous that we used to behave like that.
Yeah. And I'm sure all of us can recognize threads of these different identities that we've all tried and practiced over time. And so it's like all like the little light bulb moments going off. And then, and I love that we just to know there's an opportunity to do it a different way and find a different source of happiness within you, where we talk about the human condition, and it really is this part that just wants to love and be loved and be seen and be heard, that just innocent part of us too. And, it seems like there has to be a reckoning moment where we realize that we're responsible for that part. We can't keep looking into the rest of the world. Like you said, a helping hand once in a while when it's needed. Someone can come to your rescue in an emergency situation, but on a day-to-day basis, we have to learn to self-parent that part of us too.
Well, and that's what makes us feel capable. That's what makes us feel proud of ourselves.
Yes.
Makes us feel connected to who we are and, like powerful.
It gives us a sense of agency, that we have some control over our own life. Of course, we've got this blueprint, that our soul is living, but it's a good place to be. It's a really good place to be. I do this kind of work for myself daily, even with all of the I've been through a lot of transformation. Oh my God, but I still practice it daily, morning and night, afternoon, if I need to. Yeah. Because I'm always keeping check of my thoughts, my moods, and, and just doing that sort of inner dialogue and loving myself all of the time. And so it's consistent. Mm-hmm.
And I think it's okay, pain isn't because we're bad or stupid, or it's to wake us up. So if we're bumping into something, it's there to wake us up and say, there's another way, and it's okay. Just be kind to yourself and forgive yourself for what you didn't know. It's okay. We're all doing the same thing, and we're going to be growing. If you stay awake, you'll be growing till you transition from this human experience and then some. And try to have some fun with it, not take it quite so seriously, and believe those stories of the past, which were just launching pads to help you expand and grow and become yourself again. I mean, that's what we're doing. Experiences for who we become, not for the experience itself. And I think if we're not so hard on ourselves as being that flow of life and life cycle, we can really have fun with this. And that's what I love about this particular program, because it is fun.
Yeah. Oh, I love that too. And what you said reminded me of Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh, who's always like, oh, I guess it's how it's always going to be. I can't ever make anything different, that kind of stuff too. Right.
That's great.
And I think of how many times in my life where I just kept saying, like, it doesn't have to be this way. Wait, it doesn't have to be this way.
Yeah.
And so this is a way. Like, no, it doesn't have to be this way. And the pain, instead of resisting the pain, allow it to wake you up.
Yeah.
to a new way.
I think about so many people, and women especially, who have just changed who they are to be with their partner. They feel like they won't be loved or cared about. And I'm like, when did that decide it was a good idea to do that? Well, that's an example of an identity.
I think our partners would want to be with the real us.
We're afraid of that for all the reasons, but we get practice with it. And then suddenly it's like, well, I'm just going to wait until the person who does appreciate me, and I'm going to pass on all these other people, these space takers, and I trust that it will align, and it does. That's the amazing part. And you don't feel uncertain in your relationships anymore. You don't feel like you're walking on eggshells. You don't feel like you have to keep your mouth shut. It's like you get to be yourself, which is what, if you're looking for soulmate type connections, being yourself is the path.
Not being you is pretty darn exhausting, you know, and it doesn't work. It doesn't make you happy. So might as well just be you.
Yes.
Figure out who that is.
There's a lot of conversation about twin flames, and often the twin flames are these arduous, incredibly difficult connections. And I mean, we can talk about that all day long, but if you're in those types of situations, again, those are to wake you up and help you grow. But theoretically, if you're not growing together in that twin flame expanded situation, then you can take your learning and take it into a healthier situation.
That's funny. I was going to ask you about that because I'm a twin flame coach, and so I do interviews on with twin flames and stuff too. So I was going to ask you, have you met any of those? Have they come down your path, and what's that like? What's that like for you?
You mean personally, or with my clients?
To work with them, because it's it's definitely one of the most painful journeys to go on. Beautiful too.
Trauma bond central. Oh my God. It's like the thing that hurts me makes me feel better. Okay, makes sense of that.
It's like let's activate all of your wounds at once and see how you like that. So, but it forces you to grow. It really does force you to grow.
A large category of that in super achiever women. They want the hard. They're willing to just do above and beyond to have that connection. And
I know Miss Overachiever. She lives in me. I love her so much that she gets the job done, so I appreciate her. But then that's why I took a couple weeks where I've lightened my schedule in August, and I didn't do any shows for a couple weeks. So I was like, all right, girl, you got to take a little vacation. Miss Rose needs a rest.
So, it's a lot, for sure.
A lot of silence. I'm just going to sit in the silence. No music, no nothing, just silence. Just, the sound of the cars going by down the street maybe, but that's about it. I've enjoyed it thoroughly. Too funny. Anyways, this has been so delightful. When do you have this course coming up so people can learn more about it?
Well, I was doing it in September, but I had something come up that's intervening, so I need to put it back on. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it in January or October, but so if they're interested, just send me an email and I'll put them on the list to let them know.
That's just
right around the corner. I can send them some free stuff and some tools to get started. Because I
love that.
I have a lot of that as well.
Love that. Be in our joy, connect to inner child, and play, draw, paint, create. Yes.
Yay, Monique.
I love that so much. That's so beautiful. And you're working on a book as well, something to be excited about. So we've got your course coming up in the new year to be excited about, and you have an upcoming book as well.
I do. It was supposed to be done at the end of July, but it didn't happen. But it will be done very soon. And it's all about relationships. And it includes a lot about identity work. But it also has to do healing work as well, just about going much further in depth about many of the things we spoke about today and what gets us into trouble and how to get out of it.
Oh, I look forward to that.
How to get out of it the most.
Yeah, I look forward to that. And and I'd love us to get together again for another show when that comes out too, because so much more for us to talk about. Vivian put a beautiful quote. I have a saying, we can do hard things, and I get that from my trainer, and I've spread it, and now it's become widespread. We can do hard things. Yes, we can. Thank you, Miss Vivian, too.
Yes.
And, Jennifer McCormick, she has a beautiful twin flame in spirit as well too. So that, yeah, so it's yeah. So yeah, her and I know each other very well. I've gotten to read for her beloved many times in the different shows and things like that too. So yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Miss Vivian. Thank you, Jennifer. All right, my dear, what would you like to leave all of us here with this evening? Any final words?
Well,
whatever you want.
Thank you. Thank you for that beautiful offer. I would say I have to remember to get you booked for the magazine, Soulful Success Magazine.
Oh, I can't wait.
Whatever you want to talk about in there. I just, mostly, I don't want people to give up. I meet a lot of people who give up. And they just think they want a relationship, but they're staying alone. And I would say this type of work is perfect for that person because they're stuck in identities, and then it just gets deeper and deeper. And then the longing becomes deeper and deeper, and we're not fully realizing the truth of who we want to be in the world. So I'm just encouraging people to, take a chance. And if any of this resonated with folks, I just, go to my website and get some of the free stuff, or email me and I'll send you some things you can do at home when the class comes out. I do actually have a 7-day course. It's self-guided. It's not quite the same, but some of the same principles. You can really wet your whistle with that. And, there's a path out, and never think there isn't. You don't ever think you have to settle for not getting what you want or having that companion. It's possible, no matter what age you are. I don't care what age you are.
Yeah. There's a path out. There's another way.
There is.
Do hard things. Yes.
Do hard things.
Yes.
And this is fun. This isn't nearly as hard as working out with a trainer. So
I know. You should see what I go through sometimes. It's funny.
Imagine. I work out.
It makes me feel strong. I get my emotions and things out. It makes me feel strong to push myself, right? And that to feel that strength inside of me is very healthy for me. Yeah, it's very healthy for me to be able to do that, because I know I can keep pushing back past my limits of what I think is possible in my mind. Yeah, too. So beautiful. Thank you.
If I may say just a quick plug before we finish.
Yes.
September's issue of Soulful Success Magazine, we have Dr. Joe Vitale on the cover, and he has the movie Zero Limits, and you were talking about no limits. And if you want to be inspired, that guy will take you over the edge with inspiration.
It must be a little psychic. Okay, where can we find your magazine? Is it in print, online, or both?
It's both. soulfulsuccessmagazine.com.
Beautiful. Okay, looking forward to that. So looking forward to your magazine, your book, and your class coming up too. That's so wonderful. This has been really helpful, quite a gift for our community. More ways to learn, more ways to discover ourselves too. So I'm quite grateful that you were willing to come on and share your love and expertise with all of us here tonight.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Miss Phyllis. Okay, everybody, thank you for joining me here tonight, for joining us here tonight on The Love Show. Thank you to my beautiful producer, Kelly Brickle, for taking such good care of us in the background. Plenty of other shows coming up this week. And of course, I'll be on Embracing Infinity this coming Friday at noon with the lovely Ashley Page. Please do join us for that as well. And please, everybody, live well, love you well, walk with grace, and sleep with the angels tonight. So much love to everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Phyllis.
Thank you.